Hello, my friends. Today we are going to continue the lesson about the signs, the road signs, the main, let's say, subject in this program and studying program. And last time we talked about the mandatory signs, special regulation signs, and today we are going to observe the danger warning signs. All the main danger warning signs, we are going to talk about them today, and I think this one has to be helpful as well. So first of all, let's talk about the level crossings. Here you can see the sign, you can see the number of the sign, and this sign means level crossing with barrier ahead. You can see here even railroads. So basically this sign shows you that you have a barrier, this one, and in this case it means it also shows you the borders of this railway level crossing. So border will be barrier on one side and on another side. So of course you cannot, in case of coming train, you cannot take this position, you cannot stop there or any other things to do there. Only if you want to stop and wait for the train, you have to stop before the barrier, of course. Here you can see another sign, level crossing without barrier ahead, and now it's just casual train on the picture. Yeah, so it's very easy to separate them, to understand which one is with the barrier, which one is without the barrier. So if it's just train, it means this railway crossing is without the barrier. And in this case you can see on the picture signs like one railway track or multi-railway tracks. In this case we have one. In this case also it means that the border of the railway crossing will be here. We don't have a barrier, that's why we have to understand where is the border of this railway crossing, and now it's clearly visible where it is exactly. So of course if train is coming, you have to stop before this sign, yeah, on the border of this sign. And also when you pass the railway crossings or level crossings, it's actually the same, railway crossing and level crossing. It's level crossing is more official, railway crossing is more like casual language, let's say. And in this case on the exam also, examiner wants you to check the left side and the right side, so you have to turn your head left and right always to check the train if it's coming or not, even if you have a barrier actually. In this case someone can ask me, why do I have to check the left and right side if barrier showing me that train is coming? Usually it's also traffic light on the railway crossing, which shows you that you cannot go and cross it, like red light, right? So the point is that sometimes barriers or traffic lights cannot work if they are not working. For example, they are broken, and still you never know if it's working or not, right? That's why on the exam it's also important to check on the railway crossing, even to check left and right side, even if you have a barrier and traffic light. Even in this case you have to check both sides, and especially if there is no barrier and traffic light, then like it has to be double checked. In this case you never know if train is coming or not, so be careful on this kind of crossings. This is a single track railway, multi-track railway, that the thing that I just mentioned in the previous slide. So if it's single track railway here, it means we basically have one track only. If it's multi-track, then maybe it can be like a lot of tracks. Like here we see one track, stop sign also, and the border of this railway crossing is exactly on the sign here. And if I need to stop and wait, I stop exactly before this sign. Even if there is no train, as you remember, we have a stop sign. Even if there is no train, we have to fully stop the car, check the left and right side, and then we can go. Even if road is free and we don't see any trains. So stop sign is a mandatory sign. It means we have to make a full stop in this case. So these ones, they mean that you are the level crossing ahead, and they basically inform you that you are approaching the level crossing soon. So like 3, 2, 1, 0 is already level crossing. It basically simple information about the level crossing coming ahead. So very simple. Also, you can see the sign of the level crossing without the barrier, so you have to be extra careful here. Tramway crossing, basically the same meaning here. You also have to notice that all these danger warning signs, they always located somewhere in advance before the crossroad, before the level crossing, always in advance. So it doesn't mean that if you see the sign of level crossing without the barrier, it doesn't mean that exactly here will be the level crossing. It will be after some distance. Basically you will see it like in maybe 15, 12, like 15 or 20 meters after that. The same situation here, like tramway crossing, trams crossing, we see the sign, but where is the tramway? It's actually pretty far away from this sign. It's here a little bit. We go a little bit straight and you see it's here. The same meaning here. You have to check left and right side to ensure that there is no trains coming. Usually all the tramway crossings, they are without the barriers, usually even without the traffic lights. Very often you can see this kind of locations and situations in Tallinn or in Estonia, and that's why it's very important to be ready for this kind of crossings. So that's why these kind of signs, they are located a little bit ahead, that you have time to brake, to decelerate, to check the sides correctly. Because for example here in advance already, if I see the sign, I can check the right side for the trams in advance already. You see the tracks here, right? I check this side, and then after that I can check, when I'm closer, I can check the left one. So it will be very easily to pass these kind of crossings. So that's why they are warning signs. That's why we call them warning signs. Ahead intersection of roads of the same category. This one is the most popular one that we usually study on the driving lessons, and it's a very common sign. You have to remember what means exactly intersection of roads of the same category. It means right-hand rule applies on this intersection. It means if I want to go straight, I have to check, or left even, I have to check the right side, because the right hand car will have more priority than me, so I have to give way. Sometimes you can see crosses on the ground. They also mention for you that this crossroad have a right hand rule in this case. So try to be also more careful. Usually we have like area signs, like Allah signs. It means Allah with right hand rule and 30. Maybe you're very familiar with the sign already, so it's the most common actually combination of the sign. But in this case you can see that only one intersection is right hand rule, the next one maybe not. So after that intersection, this sign is not valid anymore, of course. So let's continue. Intersection with non-priority road. Like here you see secondary road intersecting the main road. Like some small road doesn't matter actually, but the road is this, but still we have a sign. Yeah, the main road is here, and small secondary road is on the, in this case, on the left side, right? So now you know that you're on the main road and this car has to give you a way. Also, sometimes you can meet the question in one-time in road administration exam: is it safety to make a overtaking here in this situation? For example, you want to go straight and you want to make an overtake, and the answer will be no, of course, because you never know who can enter from the secondary road the main road in the last moment, you know, so it can be very dangerous in this case. So that's why better not to make overtakings if you see this sign, because it can be road on the left or on the right side. And in this case it's very important to follow your own lane without any overtakings. Here you can see also another combination of these signs. Sometimes it's also clear that the main road goes left, for example, and intersection of the secondary road is on the left side or on the right side. So it's always like this. If you see it's on the left side, then in real life it's also will be on the left side. And if you see you go left and you have intersection on the left side, it means that in real life the same main road goes left, like here, and you have an intersection here on the bend, also on the left sides, or like here you can see on the both sides. So the same picture, like the same thing that you see on the sign, the same thing you will see in real life. So if it's turned right, then in real life you turn right. If you see secondary road is on the right side, it's also going to be on the right side. I hope this one is more or less clear for you now. Roundabout ahead also informs you about the roundabout. Usually you can see these kind of signs on the highways because of course it's very dangerous, for example, to pass the roundabout on 90. That's why it informs you in advance to decelerate, to check the signs, which exit you need, and to pass this roundabout more slowly in this case. So very good information actually, right? So if you drive on the highway and then suddenly some roundabout appears ahead, so it informs you that soon it will be there, and so you can decelerate a little and pass this roundabout very easily. The same with the traffic lights. Usually you can see these kind of signs also in some dangerous situations. Here, for example, it's a very big hill down, and you see the sign of the traffic light coming ahead, right? So it will be easier for you to start decelerating a little bit in advance, because you know that maybe my traffic light will be my signal will be red. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it always will be green for you, right? And it's downhill. So when people go downhill, they usually increase the speed limit a little bit, even if they don't understand that actually. Sometimes it happens. So that's why we have the sign. We see that it's traffic light ahead, and it means that maybe I can already start decelerating in advance, because maybe my traffic signal will be red in this case. So also very informative in this case. The same here. Speed limit is 70. It's pretty high speed, and it's very difficult to start braking very sharply. You can recognize this place maybe in one of our videos. We show the exam road to Lagri, and when you go back to the road administration, you can pass this sign and and you will see the traffic light there soon. So the same situation here. We have a 70 speed limit. It's pretty high speed, and in this case maybe even better to decelerate a little bit, like to go 60 or maybe even 50, to be ready to stop on the red light, if you understand what I mean. So you always have to be, always have to wait for the red signal, right? It's always the problem for the students, that they think that green light will be constantly blinking, and red light is never coming. In this case, it's actually a real problem. So that's why it's maybe in this case, if you see the sign speed limit is high, maybe it's better to decelerate a little bit in advance in this case. So quayside or riverbank, it means you're near to some, for example, ship port or river port, or somewhere close to the water, and there is no fence or some closed territory where, for example, security guards this entrance and this kind of places. It means it's very dangerous to drive there. You have to be extra careful because no one controls this area, and you just can simply fall into the water out of the bank, right? So it can be very dangerous in this case. Here you can see the picture, like the real picture, real sign, and you can see the riverbank ahead. Nothing controls it, no barriers, no fence, no like security guards or someone. So if you just go straight, you basically just fall down into the water, and it can be the problem, right? Dangerous bend, bend right and bend to the left. So it's almost the same meaning like the previous sign we talked about, the intersection with no non-priority, but in this case it means mostly that this bend is really sharp, and you have to decelerate, of course, to make this turn more smooth in this case. So the same point here. If you see on the picture that on the sign that this line turns left, that means in real life you also will turn left, and this sharp turn will be to the left as well. So it's very informative in this case as well. The same here also. Soon you will enter the bend or turn, which is very sharp. So maybe it's more logical to start decelerating. It's especially also very important for the motorcycles as well, because it's very hard to control the motorcycle on the high speed. You see, it's a highway. If I go 90 and then after that I have a 90 degrees sharp turn, maybe it will be hard for me to control it, and I just can miss the turn and I will fall into the forest. That's why it's also very informative sign. This one the same, like dangerous bends. So now we have a lot of bends in a row. First bend will be right, then left, and then it's straight. Here first bend will be left, and second bend or turn will be right. So the same like in real life. First bend will be left and second bend will be right. It can be also many of them. Doesn't mean that it's only two bends maybe. So in this case, of course, I have to decelerate in advance. So steep hill downwards and steep hill upwards, you can see. This one, if I read it from left to right, it means it's downhill. The same here. If I read it like I usually read the text from left to right, it means uphill goes up. So for us it's very not clear. Looking at this picture and this road, it's not very clear for us is if it's uphill or downhill. Yeah, it's very straight picture actually. So as I said, we have to read these signs from the left to right. We see then in this case if it's uphill. For this car it's uphill, for the white car it's downhill. So basically white car has this sign. Of course, for some countries, I know that in some countries, some nations read from right to left. Yeah, but here we just consider the casual. No, for us it's casual. The European, let's say, style of reading and writing the stuff. Yeah, so I have to consider this. Just remember, from left to right always. And this one. This is also very important here to understand these signs, because usually if you have an obstacle on the road, the car who has the obstacle has to give way, right? So I have some stones on the road. If I'm in this blue car, black car, if I have any obstacle on the road, I have to give way to the oncoming cars. I cannot just cross him, shortcut somehow, and disturb him. In this case I have to wait until he passes and then I can go. But in this case, when I have a sign uphill and he has downhill sign, the one who is on the uphill, so he's going up, he has more priority in this case. So this white car has to give way to the black one. The reason is that usually, for example, if it's track, yeah, big vehicle, it's hard for him, and he have a lot of cargo inside. It's hard for him to stop on the hill and then start the car again with all the cargo inside. So many tons, you know, and that's why it's very good rule, actually, because for the car who wants to go down, it's much easier to stop and then continue driving. So that's why this rule exists, and please try to remember this. Slippery road sign. This sign mostly means that the road is very, let's say, solid. Road is very solid, and if you have maybe a little bit of water on the road or even snow, it will be very slippery. It means also, for example, that why this asphalt is solid, for example, because it's new asphalt. For example, someone just constructed a new asphalt there, and as you remember, usually these new asphalts, or maybe you know already actually, that new asphalts are very solid when they just constructed, yeah, and that's why it can be dangerous. Just put a little bit water on this kind of asphalt and your car can slide very easily out of the road. So this part of the road ahead will be it kind of dangerous part of the road because it can be slippery. So you have to consider that when you see this sign. Also here, this one is the electronic one. If you see the black signs, it means it's an electronic one, like here. And here you can see, keep the distance, keep the bigger separation distance, because road can be slippery. Why? Because as we see, this road was, for example, constructed just a few months ago, for example. Danger warning signs here. It's also mostly connected with construction works or some old roads, very old roads, like uneven road, this sign means. And three different types of uneven road. One of them, like the first one, it means you have a lot of bumps or holes ahead, like many of them, not only one. Here it can be only one. For example, somewhere asphalt was straight, and because of water, ice, and some other weather condition, this solid asphalt just broken, like this. Sometimes it happens, even not only in Estonia, right? Because of earth corrosion and this kind of stuff. So it's one big, in this case, hole where the road is not straight in this case. So also you have to be careful. And this one means also asphalt was straight, but something made this asphalt like to move up. For example, tree roots. Maybe you saw, if you go somewhere outside of Tallinn and you drive near the forest on some old roads, you can see that big roots are growing into the asphalt even with time. So after that, this kind of bumps appear on the road, of course. So this sign means uneven road, unstable road, and you have to be careful in this case. Usually also they can use these signs if they make some construction works, of course. And of course it will be the speed limit, the temporary one. Loose gravel, the same. It kind of, we had road works some time ago. After that they put gravel on the road to make the asphalt more solid. And first 2-3 weeks they put the sign like this, and of course speed limit also usually has to be somewhere nearby. It also means that if you go fast on this kind of gravel road, it also can be dangerous for pedestrians and for the cars as well, because if you go faster than 30, for example, 50 or 90 even, these small stones, they start to basically jump out from your tires very quickly with a very big speed, like bullets actually. So it can harm pedestrians, it can harm other cars, and from my experience I can say that once I were driving somewhere as well on the highway when there was a gravel on the road as well, and some cars were very fastly moving in front of me, and after this car passed me, some very small stone fly into my windshield, and there was a big scratch actually after that. So after that I had to repair my windshield again in this case. So this kind of gravel stones are very dangerous. They can damage your car, they can damage people around. So you have to follow the speed limit and have to consider that maybe you have to go more slower than it's mentioned on the sign even sometimes. Longitudinal roads, it means these kind of routes here. Yeah, some asphalt part of the road, and they become more basically uneven, let's say, because of cars always moving on the same road, buses and trucks and some other big vehicles, and they make this asphalt a little bit, they push this asphalt a little bit more down, especially where the tires are usually located, right? So in this case it's also very dangerous. For example, for motorcycles, it's harder for them to change the lanes and stuff, and for the cars as well. Actually, it's harder to control the steering wheel in this case if you want to change a lane. So you also have to consider this when you see this sign. Dangerous shoulder also means if you have a very narrow road like here and you see this sign, maybe if you want to stop on the shoulder or overtake someone, for example, if the truck is coming, yeah, he's usually too wide, and you want to overtake him a little bit, to pass him a little bit, to use a little bit shoulder, then you have to consider that shoulder is also kind of dangerous. Dangerous means it's also a lot of holes there, it's very uneven, so you maybe can lose control of the car as well. So sometimes maybe even better to stop on this shoulder, not drive on it, to give way to the coming truck or bus, yeah, and then when he passes, you just start the car and go straight. And the same situation can be like if someone wants to turn left. Imagine we have a crossroad. If someone wants to turn left and you want to overtake him on the right side, on the shoulder, using the shoulder. So of course think twice in this case. Maybe it's better to wait until he finished the turn and then you just simply go straight. So yeah, this one is also very important. Roadworks, if you see men digging the road, it means roadworks ahead. So also usually this sign is also temporary, so you have to be careful. Maybe you can see some tractors on the road, big vehicles on the road soon, so that's why I have to decelerate, because they usually make road workings during the daytime where all the people drive, so it's kind of dangerous to pass them around when they make work. So that's why you can see the sign, then you think, okay, now we have a roadworks ahead, so it means maybe the casual signs are not working, I have to follow the temporary signs. Maybe the authorized official is going to control the intersection instead of traffic lights. Authorized official, I mean policeman or other person who controls the traffic. So I have to think about all these things when I see this sign, so that it might be dangerous to continue with the speed limit I had. Maybe I had to be more slower. I have to be more slower than it's usually be there. Unpaved road ahead. This sign is very also interesting. It means we have an asphalt road, and it's after that, after some distance, this asphalt road will be transformed into casual gravel road, for example. Yeah, the same thing here. If it's asphalt road now and I drive 90, of course it means I cannot go the same 90 on the gravel road. So in this case I also have to decelerate. Road narrows on both sides, on right, on left, on right or on left. On both sides it's here, on right, on left. Usually people can think that this sign means that this lane is ending, but actually this lane is not ending. It's becoming more narrow, as you see on the picture, but it's not ending. You still can drive on this lane, but you have to be aware, because this lane is more shorter after this sign. It will be more shorter. For example, if you have a truck or bus moving on the left lane, it means maybe you will not fit there. So you have to be more careful here. Two-way traffic straight ahead. It's also very important. We talked about this sign in our video about one-way roads, if you remember this. We talked about it. Also, now we are going to show the situation that we have in Nimme, for example. So I see I have a one-way road. After that, I see a two-way traffic straight ahead. It doesn't mean that two-way traffic starts here exactly. It starts after one-way end sign shows it, basically. So here starts two-way traffic, but not on the sign. Please remember it. Only one-way traffic, one-way end sign can and the one-way basically. So here starts two-way traffic, and you were basically, it again informs you a little bit in advance that you will be ready. If you move on the left lane, you will be ready to change it before the oncoming traffic comes. That's the point of the sign. The same here. This road was one way, you see, but in some reason, maybe because of construction works or some accident on the road, this one way is closed now. So this road is not one way anymore. That's why this sign here crossed, and we have two-way traffic sign. So it means I can go left and right. Also gives us the information, informs us that we have two-way road ahead. It's not one way anymore, for example. Like this. Ramp or speed bump, this kind of sign. It's very easy also to understand that soon will be speed bump. Of course, then I have nothing to do, then start decelerating in this case. Unregulated pedestrian crossing ahead or zebra crossing ahead. Also informs us about the zebra crossing soon is approaching. So you have to decelerate, to be careful. After this sign, you already start looking for the real pedestrian sign or zebra. Also, you are already informed. You see it, soon you will see the zebra. So you have to try to start looking for this zebra or pedestrian crossing sign. Pedestrians in road ahead. So it means this is the road where pedestrians can usually walk. Some parks, resting areas, for example, seaside, like near Pirita or in Pelguranna. People very often walk there because it's a beach and it's always sunny. They want to rest there basically. So you have to be careful because they can walk on the road. And 30 here, recommended speed. So it means I don't have to go 30, but this speed is recommended. A recommendation. If I want to be more careful, it's better to drive for me 30 in this case. Children ahead, the same logic here. It means somewhere nearby the school is located or kindergarten. That's why we have a speed limit 40. Also pedestrian crossings, a lot of them here. It's an Eastman, maybe you recognize the place. So you have to be also very careful in case of children coming on the road or running on the road. Even sometimes they can't play football, they can't play anything, and they just can run for the ball if the ball is on the road, and they even don't look on the cars in this case. So it's very also dangerous. So elder people ahead, they can cross this area because maybe somewhere ahead there is a hospital, for example, or a place where the elder people live mostly. So you have to be also careful. They usually have very bad feeling of the traffic vision as well. They walk very slowly, so you have to be careful. If you are informed, then you already know that it can happen on this type of the road. And here you can see different, very different signs of any kind of pedestrians and animals: cycle, skiers, horse riders, cattle crossings like cows, horses. This one, I'm not sure who is this one. Yeah, basically it's like I think it's sheep. Yeah, So cattle crossing on the road can be, because for example in this area mostly farmers live. Yeah, it's very usual for Estonia actually. We have a lot of farmers, especially horse farms. So you have to be extra careful. They just can't go walk on the road, and it's okay in this country also. Wild animals like moose, birds, failing or fallen rocks. It usually you can see this kind of signs near the mountains, but we don't have a lot of mountains, as you know, so still you know the meaning of the sign. Crosswind, side wind. For example, you have a very big territory without any forest. It's just fields only. Yeah. For example, if you go to Keila, in some place you will see a big field without any forest, without any hills, without any mountains, just clear desert of let's say desert even. It's like just only fields. In this case it's also very dangerous, because then wind is more strong in this kind of situations, in this kind of locations. I mean, if it's forest, then basically forest can cover you against the wind, but if there is no forest or mountains or hills, then nothing covers you from the wind. And Estonia is kind of windy country, let's say. So if you see this sign, it's also very important, then you know that crosswind is very common here in this area, and I have to be more slow. The sign for aircraft: sudden aircraft noise, low flying aircraft. It's near Ülemiste. We have the same situation. If you go straight to Tartu, on Tartu Mante, you can see this sign over there. They basically means that a lot of planes usually fly there very low, and they make a big noise. So traffic jam ahead, basically. So in this place, traffic jam is very common thing. So also the same, you have to consider that maybe it's not good idea to go with a maximum allowed speed like it usually, because anyway soon you will stop because of the traffic jam. Danger of ice, risk of ice. This sign is a little bit different. Maybe you remember we talked about the sign slippery road sign. Yeah. In this case, it's this one means that the place where the sign is located, ice can appear on the road because of some kind of nature weather changing and this kind of stuff. So like down, if you go somewhere up to the hill or down the hill very down, where usually sun is not getting through the forest very correctly, let's say straight through the forest, it's not possible for in this area, if it's like very tall forest, for example, or up on the mountain somewhere where is more usually more windy and more temperature is more low in this case. So basically this sign means that in some nature reasons this road can be icy or slippery. So this is the meaning of this sign. And other danger, there is no strict meaning of this sign. It means that anything can happen with you in this part of the road, like anything. Someone road can be icy, animals can be road in the same time, traffic jam can be ahead also. So anything. So you have to be careful and you have to wait, like you have to be ready to meet every danger on the road. Very interesting sign and kind of funny, but this kind of sign we have. And this one means traffic accident ahead. Usually if policemen see the traffic accident, they come to the place, to this accident, to form it they can put this sign in front and behind to inform other drivers that here we have a traffic accident, please be careful, because maybe some parts of the car on the road can be which can damage you or your car, for example. And oil, for example, if car gets broken with the engine part, oil from the engine can flow down on the asphalt on the road, and in this case it's very dangerous, because in this case road is very slippery. If you see oil on the road, you have to be extra careful. And this sign, the same signs that we already had, like slippery, icy road, other danger, traffic jam, speed limits, this one are electric ones. Nowadays it's very popular. They can change the sign depending on the weather or other conditions. For example, today is sunny outside, we put 60 here. Tomorrow snow outside, road is very icy, they can immediately change the sign and put 30 speed limit. So very comfortable thing. And here is the same. Other signs, two-way traffic, road works ahead, traffic accident, side wind, speed limits. Also the electronic ones. So guys, thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please put the comments, put likes, subscribe on the channel. It really helps us to promote this. For now we actually see that we have already more and more views on the channel, and thank you very much for helping us, actually, for watching it and for subscriptions, and so it really helps us. So please don't be shy, always ask anything you want in the comments, or you can contact directly with me, and it really will be helpful. We're always glad to help you anyway. So thank you and goodbye, hope see you soon.